Hi everyone, this is Anastasia with One Cosmic Heart, sitting outside, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but there's a bird with a call or a cry that I really haven't heard before. So I don't know what kind of bird it is, and I don't know if it's hungry or if that's just its voice. Anyway, hope you're all well. Today I wanted to share some thoughts around being sensitive to anything, not just energy, but maybe you have like some food sensitivities, or you're sensitive to noise, light, maybe. People are sensitive to all different things, even smells. As our environment has become more, I guess, unnatural, we're more and more sensitive to things. But I really wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with being sensitive energetically, and what it's meant for me, and why I actually think that it's really a gift. I don't know if anyone has ever said this to you, said something like, "You're so sensitive. You're very sensitive about certain things." And sometimes that can just be an observation, and sometimes it's meant like you're way more sensitive than the person saying it, and they're maybe confused because you're so sensitive about something, or they may be a little annoyed, that you're sensitive about some things that other people are not sensitive around. There's lots of different ways you can interpret that phrase or sentence or comment. I don't know that I've heard it come towards me in a really harsh way, but when people have said it, it's almost like they're surprised that I have a level of sensitivity around something, and they don't. They're really just noticing that I do, and they don't. And sometimes it comes off. It may sound a little judgy or something like that. And for sensitive people, sometimes you can even be sensitive about that comment. You can be like, oh, they don't like me, or they don't like the way I do something, which may be the case. And honestly, that's their problem, not your problem. I am sensitive about certain things. I do experience things, as we all do, differently than other people. We all experience things in our own way. You could be watching the same movie as 10 other people, and everyone's going to experience it a little differently. The same movie. And that can be true for like a conversation or watching an interaction out in public. We're all going to interact with it, and it's all going to like register differently for us. So when people have said, you're really sensitive about X, Y, and Z, over the years, in the beginning it did bother me. I was like, oh, I am. And now I'm sensitive about that. I mean, it's kind of like a catch-22. What I've learned for myself, and this may be different for you, is when people have a heightened level of sensitivity around something, I like to think of it like antennas, like the old-fashioned TV antennas that are catching information. But you can also think of it like antennas that certain insects have. And with those antennas, they're able to, those are like their receptors of receiving information. Whales and dolphins have it through sonar. So they're very sensitive to sound and movement and waves and currents and all of that through their detection centers. Bats as well. Bats are using their ears. So think of it like your sensitivity is an extension of you Think of it like insect antennas, or, like I said, any of those animals that are using, their, it's not even another sense, it's their hearing. It's one of the five senses, and we do have more as humans, but it's one of those basic five senses as a human that we have. So think of your sensitivity as like an antenna, and your antenna just happens to be different than somebody else's antenna. It might reach farther up and might be able to get more information up. It might be like wider out this way. So, and it doesn't really matter. It's not like I can see the antenna, right? We can't see each other's antenna. They're just there. Your sensitivity might come through touch. You might be very sensitive to different touches, deep touch, or even I knew somebody that when I would like pat her on the back, she didn't like a light touch. She was like, please don't touch me lightly, but like a more firm touch felt good for her. So these are all just good things to notice about ourselves, and there's no right way or wrong way to be who you are, because you're made with, you have your own blueprint. You came here uniquely you, and you're going to experience the world different. So when someone says you're so sensitive, now I don't hear it as much anymore. Hi, Wendy. Hi. I don't see it as much or I don't hear it as much anymore, but sometimes I do. I just say thank you. I take it as a compliment. Like, yes, I am sensitive to X, Y, and Z. And that person, all they're saying is they're not. They're noticing that I'm sensitive. That's great. For me, being sensitive to certain things in certain situations has helped me to understand that I may have a boundary around something. Like, something may not feel good, and now my senses are telling me, if you stay much longer here at this activity, you're going to be tired when you go home. Or this person may not have the best intentions towards you. Those are some of the things that I'm sensitive about. So that's information. I think of it as information. And honestly, I think that many of us, because of the fast-paced life that we lead and are in, we're now desensitized. Like, we are just moving from activity to activity to activity, or responsibility. And a lot of us don't have time to process. We just need to get to the next thing. We've got bills to pay, so, how are we going to get through our day? If you have children, you're running around with the kids. A lot of us don't even have the time. Like, we may be sensitive to things, and we may be processing information as it comes through, but we may not have the time in that moment to fully process it and feel it, so it gets stored in the body. That actually has happened to me my whole life, I will say, is not being aware of what information was coming in, not knowing how to process it, and it got stored in the body. And then I had to deal with it later because I didn't know how to move it in the moment. So it started accumulating in my body, and I had to deal with it later, which wasn't always fun, because now there's like layers and layers of experiences sitting there. And now having to go and go, oh, what's this? And what's this? So this is all to say, if you are one of those people, and there's a phrase called highly sensitive people, HSP, it's a term. Learning about that, learning more about yourself is a beautiful thing. I really just wanted to come on here today and say there is nothing wrong with you being sensitive about anything. Think of it as information. It's how you respond and react to that information. If it makes you really angry, that's okay too. That's information. Do you sit in the anger, or can you move it? Does something make you sad? That's okay too. That's information. Why does it make you sad? Or do you sit in that sadness? Is it hard for you to move out of the sadness? So this is all about collecting information, just being aware of who you are, and knowing that it's okay. It really is okay. I think we're going to start to see more and more people being I'm doing air quotes, like sensitive, but those can be like stepping into some of your intuitive gifts. Honestly, you might start to become clairvoyant or clairaudient. Those are gifts. That's nothing I would push away. Now, it might be a little scary if you're unfamiliar with that. It might be something that you want to take a class on or learn more information about, but you can also think of people that are very sensitive tend to be those intuitive psychic people. Even if they're not doing it professionally, they tend to be those folks. So anyway, I'd like to keep this on the short side. Just wanted to come on here and say, if you are feeling sensitive about things, it's okay. Just tune in and ask yourself, like, I wonder why I'm sensitive about this. And I bet it has served you. I bet it has protected you in some way. I bet it has helped you in certain circumstances. It is not an accident that you are sensitive about whatever it is. And it may just be that you need a little help managing something like that. So if you have any questions, any comments, let me know. You can drop those into the comments. I do work with people to help clear up obstacles and blocks that they may have, and we can certainly tune into seeing, like, is there an emotional, like, backlog? Has there been something going on for a while that's created this emotional backlog? And I can work with you to clear that and help release that, so we can release it. You can feel lighter and better in your body, your mind, your heart and soul. And maybe there will be circumstances that don't feel as heavy, or like you're sensitive around certain things. So that's just in case you want to explore more options with me. But yeah, I celebrate the sensitivity that people have, because I think it's a gift. I think it's a true gift. So thank you for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend.